For centuries, the disappearance of the Maya civilization has been wrapped in mystery, speculation, and sensational myths. Popular culture often portrays the Maya as a people who suddenly vanished, leaving their great stone cities swallowed by the jungle as if erased overnight. The truth, however, is far more complex, more human, and far more fascinating. The Maya did not disappear in a single catastrophic event. Instead, their civilization underwent a long, uneven transformation shaped by environmental stress, political collapse, warfare, and social change. What remains today is not a vanished people, but a civilization that evolved, adapted, and survived in new forms. The Maya civilization developed in Mesoamerica, covering present-day southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. Its roots stretch back as early as 2000 BCE, when early Maya communities began farming maize, beans, and squash. Over centuries, these villages grew into complex city-states, each ruled by powerful kings who claimed divine authority. By the Classic period, roughly 250 to 900 CE, the Maya had built some of the most sophisticated societies in the ancient world. Cities like Tikal, Calakmul, Copan, Palenque, and Caracol featured monumental pyramids, palaces, ball courts, and intricate stone carvings that recorded history with astonishing precision. The Maya were not a single empire ruled by one central authority. Instead, they were a network of independent city-states, each competing for power, resources, and prestige. These cities were connected by trade routes and shared religious beliefs, writing systems, and calendars, but they frequently fought one another. This political fragmentation would later play a critical role in their decline. While it allowed for cultural diversity and innovation, it also made the civilization vulnerable to prolonged conflict and instability. One of the most important factual points about the Maya collapse is that it primarily affected the southern lowland cities during the late Classic period, around 750 to 900 CE. Archaeological evidence shows that during this time, many major urban centers were gradually abandoned. Monument carvings stopped, royal dynasties ended, and population levels declined sharply in certain regions. However, this process unfolded over generations, not in a sudden disaster. Some cities fell earlier, others later, and many northern Maya centers continued to thrive for centuries afterward. Environmental factors played a major and well-documented role in this decline. The southern Maya lowlands lacked major rivers, making the civilization heavily dependent on seasonal rainfall. The Maya engineered sophisticated water management systems, including reservoirs, canals, and terrace fields, to sustain their growing populations. However, paleoclimate studies using lake sediments, cave formations, and tree rings have revealed that the region experienced a series of severe droughts between approximately 800 and 1000 CE. These droughts were not short-lived, but occurred repeatedly over decades, placing enormous strain on food production and water supplies. As populations grew during the Classic period, the Maya intensified agriculture by clearing forests to make room for crops and construction. This deforestation, confirmed by pollen records and soil analysis, likely worsened the effects of drought by reducing soil fertility and increasing erosion. When rainfall declined, the land could no longer support the dense populations that had once thrived. Crop failures would have led to famine, malnutrition, and social unrest, especially among common people who relied directly on agricultural stability. Political instability compounded these environmental pressures. Maya kings derived their authority from their ability to communicate with the gods and maintain cosmic balance. When droughts, food shortages, and disease struck, the legitimacy of rulers was called into question. Inscriptions from the late Classic period show an increase in warfare, the capture of rival kings, and the destruction of enemy cities. Rather than uniting in the face of crisis, Maya city-states often intensified their conflicts, draining resources and further destabilizing the region. Archaeological evidence clearly shows that warfare became more frequent and more destructive during the final centuries of the Classic period. Defensive walls were built around cities that previously had none. Artistic depictions shifted from celebratory scenes to violent imagery, emphasizing captives and sacrifices. Entire dynasties collapsed after military defeats, leaving cities without leadership. Once royal courts fell apart, the complex administrative and religious systems that supported urban life could no longer function effectively. Trade networks also suffered during this period. The Maya relied on long-distance trade for essential goods such as obsidian, jade, salt, and luxury items used in rituals and elite display. As cities collapsed and routes became unsafe due to conflict, trade declined. This disrupted not only elite lifestyles, but also the broader economy, making recovery increasingly difficult. Without trade, specialization decreased, and cities lost their ability to sustain large populations. Disease likely played a role as well, though direct evidence is harder to obtain. Drought, malnutrition, and overcrowding create ideal conditions for the spread of illness. Skeletal remains from the late Classic period show signs of nutritional stress, including stunted growth and anemia. While no single epidemic has been identified, declining health would have reduced labor capacity and increased mortality, accelerating population decline. One of the most important facts often misunderstood is that the Maya people themselves did not disappear. While many southern lowland cities were abandoned, millions of Maya continued to live in other regions. In the northern Yucatan Peninsula, cities like Chichen Itza, Uxmal, and Mayapan rose to prominence after the Classic collapse. These centers developed new political systems, architectural styles, and trade connections, demonstrating that Maya civilization was transforming rather than ending. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they encountered thriving Maya communities with their own languages, traditions, and political structures. In fact, the last independent Maya kingdom, Tayasal, was not conquered until 1697. Today, more than 6 million Maya descendants live across Mexico and Central America, preserving elements of their ancient culture, language, and worldview. This continuity alone disproves the idea of a vanished civilization. Modern archaeology relies on solid, evidence-based methods to reconstruct what happened. Inscriptions on stelae provide precise dates and historical events, allowing researchers to track political collapse city by city. Environmental data confirms climate stress. Settlement surveys show population decline and migration patterns. Together, these sources paint a clear picture of gradual decline driven by multiple interacting factors rather than a single catastrophic event. It is also important to address what did not cause the Maya collapse. There is no credible evidence supporting theories of alien contact, supernatural punishment, or sudden global disasters. While volcanic eruptions and meteor impacts occurred elsewhere in the world, none coincide directly with the timing or regional pattern of Maya decline. These sensational ideas persist largely because they are dramatic, not because they are supported by data. The story of the Maya collapse is ultimately a story about resilience and vulnerability. The Maya achieved extraordinary cultural, scientific, and artistic accomplishments, including a complex writing system, advanced mathematics, precise astronomy, and monumental architecture. At the same time, they faced real-world challenges that overwhelmed their political and environmental systems. Their experience serves as a powerful reminder that even highly sophisticated societies are not immune to ecological stress and internal conflict. Today, scholars view the Maya collapse not as a mystery of disappearance, but as a case study in how civilizations change under pressure. It highlights the consequences of environmental mismanagement, political fragmentation, and failure to adapt quickly enough to changing conditions. These lessons feel strikingly modern in a world grappling with climate change, resource depletion, and geopolitical instability. The jungle-covered ruins that once fueled myths of sudden vanishing now tell a clearer, more grounded story. Stone temples did not fall silent overnight. They were abandoned slowly as people made difficult choices to leave failing cities in search of survival elsewhere. The Maya adapted, moved, and endured. Their civilization did not end, it transformed. In the end, the disappearance of the Maya is not a tale of extinction, but of transition. It is a reminder that history is rarely neat or dramatic in the way legends suggest. Instead, it unfolds through countless human decisions made under pressure. The Maya story, grounded firmly in archaeological and scientific evidence, stands as one of the most important and instructive chapters in human history, showing how even the greatest civilizations must adapt or change to survive.